the government does seem to sense this opportunity that India has to become kind of a bigger manufacturing hub. So at the moment, I think manufacturing is something like 17% of GDP compared to China, which is, I don't know, 25, 30%.
Probably
GDP.
Around 27, yeah.
Yeah. So this is a big opportunity. And one thing that came up in all of our meetings was this talk about the PLI scheme, this
Production linked incentive.
Yeah. This is a kind of a government subsidy, which is designed to kind of help balance the cost of the fact that it's more expensive to manufacture in India today because they don't have the ecosystem that China does. We're concerned, I think it's fair to say, about kind of getting the government involvement within industry and the incentive, the kind of perverse incentives that can increase or that can cause. But the other side of the coin is it actually seems to be working. So a company like Apple has materially moved their supply chain to India. And it's two things. It allows them to capitalize on this growing Indian consumer class, but also
cheaper labor.
It can provide an alternative to China as well.
The one thing that was insightful for me too from a lot of our meetings, this realization that they needed to make just general ease of doing business better. You can't just have these manufacturing incentive schemes if you're not also logistically efficient. And so I was writing some of the programs that I kept hearing about, and I'm going to butcher this, I apologize, the Gati Shakti, which was the multimodal connectivity of physical and digital infrastructure mapping to help make manufacturers more competitive. So if you're rolling out a new plant, you know where the best place to put it is for zoning, for logistics, for access to railways. And so that was a big initiative. The National Single Window is basically a single government portal for all permissions and permitting and things like that. Again, a lot of these little initiatives that they've been doing in conjunction with these other types of schemes so that they could both ease business and provide incentive to pull more of the manufacturing to India.
In talking to some of the companies, I did get the sense, and not just talking to them, but also reading the news there, is that India is a beneficiary of geopolitics to some extent. The fact that some companies, in fact Chinese companies, are locating to India, which doesn't really benefit India that much, but at least it creates employment, for example. So maybe the hype is more on geopolitics, but I can see that the manufacturing sector is a beneficiary because people want to relocate. Well, first they went to Vietnam, so Greater China, call it, or Southeast Asia, but I think India is becoming a beneficiary. And another thing on geopolitics is that India is always biggest import bill in India, and the reason for most of their balance of payments issues has been the oil bill. So whenever oil prices shoot up, it's a big issue for India, but now they can source fairly cheap oil from Russia. And they're trying to do this, they've been a non-aligned country for a very long time, meaning neither aligned with the Russians or the non-capitalists, as well as with Europe and America. So they've been doing this balancing act, but I think in this case, they are benefiting from cheaper oil as well. So I don't know how long this can carry on though.